and welcome to the Bitesize B2B marketing shows. This is the first one, so we can see how wrong this can go. But yeah, we'll just wait for a few people to join, as I don't think it was pulling through on LinkedIn to the event. So we've just put the link to it in the comments. But yeah, thanks a lot for joining us. Our aim is essentially to give B2B companies easy to digest tips to help improve their marketing efforts. So the format of the show will follow one of two ways. So yeah, ideally most weeks we're going to have a weekly guest on. So we'll be bringing someone in who is working at a B2B company or an agency who can offer insights to help B2B marketing teams to improve their website and to improve their marketing efforts. And secondly, like we are today, we'll be having solo episodes as well. So it will be where we are diving into what's been working for our clients, any interesting topics that we can think of, and it will be myself, but then also I'll be joined as well by my sidekick, Mitchell. So Mitch, how you doing, mate?
Hello. Yeah, very well, thanks. Days flown by, so but I was looking forward to this. Thanks.
So we're here in the new office. It's today we were going to be diving into B2B link building. So yeah, an exciting topic, and really the importance of this is can't really be stressed enough when it comes to SEO. It's one of the most important factors in B2B SEO, but also just in SEO in general. Without backlinks to your site, so without other people talking about your company and linking to your website, you've got no chance of ranking in Google. It's a key element, and without that, you're not going to be able to have your website ranking high at the search results. So in terms of the two areas of B2B SEO that are important, is obviously the content and how well Google can crawl the site, but then it's the links as well, the offsite SEO, which plays a massive part. And that's what we're really going to be digging into today. So anything to kind of add on the importance of link building, Mitch?
I just say to underline that, not to underestimate the value of them, because it's really easy to be focused on internal projects like your content, which is great, but then it's just, unfortunately, it's just really important. So sometimes it can seem like a chore, but definitely worth investing in, I'd say.
Yeah, amazing, cool. Yeah, so to kick it off really is just going to be sort of a top level overview of the process of building links, and essentially, as mentioned before, it's just when getting another website linking to your website, and the easiest way to do that is to create value, to add value. So that comes in many forms. It's just an exchange of value. That website that is going to be writing about you, that's going to be featuring you, you need to have something to talk about. You need to have something to make them want to feature you and to make them want to feature your website. And that comes down to that value you can exchange, and that can come in different forms, be that a cornerstone piece of content that is industry leading. It could be some unique stats or data that you've got. And then also just really giving, it could even just be industry people that you have at your company, thought leaders, and being able to get those put in. And we'll dive into those tactics in a little bit more. But Mitch, in terms of sort of more the nitty gritty and the more details of it, what do you look for when you're judging a website, and when you want to get a link from the website, what are you looking for there?
Yeah, I mean, I think you went over one of the main topics already, which is that exchange of value. So yeah, I think just to hone in the idea of relevancy is just so important. I mean, it just goes without saying, if you're selling software, you don't want a link from a sports website. It's just like Google has ways to detect relevancy in very complex levels. So yeah, I just think that's the kind of priority thing to look for. But then also, I think more of it can be almost what to look out for, in terms of what makes a bad link rather than what's a good link. Excuse me. I mean, if you're working with quite high-end websites, respectable news outlets, generally speaking, those websites can be quite safe. But if you're going kind of with more independent sites, kind of bloggers and stuff like that, you definitely want to be careful and do your checks. I guess we'll talk a bit more about that in a bit as well.
Yeah, exactly. Nice, cool. So so the importance of link building can't be stressed enough, and then just ensuring that creating that value to get people to want to link to you. And we'll touch on this later. That value can also be a bit of money to that other website to get them to link to you, but we'll cover that in a bit as well. I suppose diving into the tactics really. And I think kind of like the first thing, the key thing to really ensure that you're doing from the start is just ensuring that you are educating the team. So if you're a marketing manager, if you're the person who is in charge of the marketing executive, or you are just a lone SEO working at a B2B company, I think the key thing is to educate the team and to make sure they understand the value of link building, but also just the process of it. Like, we've got clients who will get featured on podcasts, or who they will naturally speak at a conference, and then they will get featured by that conference website. And it's just a case of then they don't realize the benefit of, they think, oh great, I've been featured by that website, but it needs that link through to Google. So there is also the whole world of kind of like the unlinked mention, and does that help or does that doesn't? But I think, it's another topic for another day. But I think the key point is that if you're speaking at a conference, you're going on a podcast, it's very easy to say to them like, look, hey, it would be great for your audience to be able to come through and look at our website or look at some further pieces of content. So if you could include a link, that would be really helpful for them. So yeah,
just to like add to that, like, when you're sponsoring events, you get on their website, get on the homepage, like they're like really powerful links. So that's almost like an incentive in itself to be sponsoring events and talks and stuff. So I just stress that that's a really good opportunity too.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. So yeah, first tactic really, or not really a tactic, but just kind of like more of that initial mindset is just educate the team and just ensure that they are up to speed and know the value of a link, and just also that if they do get an unlinked feature to try and get that link in there as well. And I feel the next step now is then also the guest posting, and as well as this is, it gets a bad name, but a guest post essentially is where you take your expertise and you write a blog post on, you're a guest on someone else's website. So with that, the point is you provide the value by writing the post, and then usually during the post or at the end of the post, they let you link through to your website. So with this, again, it's a tactic where you need to really take into account the quality of the site, and just ensure that what you're looking for when you're judging those sites is they are high quality sites, they're industry leading sites, and they're sites that you would want to get a link from. So anything to kind of mention on that guest posting side of things, Mitch?
I'd just say like there's quite a popular method of guest posting where you'll have a few websites that you work with frequently, and you'll be doing maybe a column, almost like sending an article once a month, or even once a year for a few years, and you just end up with this kind of backlog, which is great to like build up a relationship with a website. But I think we were talking about that the other day, which is like the more links you have from one website, they do go down in kind of value, and like the authority they're passing, it becomes less and less and less. So I just sort of say it's good just to keep your eyes open and just keep looking for new opportunities. Don't just think you can rely on I've got a website, I do guest posting. It's always good to just keep looking for more. So
yeah, exactly. So I think judge the quality of the site. Don't just kind of go for any website that's literally got blazoned over it, guest post here. Just look at the quality, and especially any industry leading magazines or publications, definitely look to get those featured on those. The next kind of tactic, and something that still works very well, is HARO, so help a reporter out. Again, this is kind of what we touched on before. It's like having that thought leader at your company, someone, e.g. the founder, or someone high up in the company who knows has a lot of expertise on the topic, and then reporters need help to get to write an article. They want an expert opinion, so they put out requests every day. There's hundreds of requests that you can sift through. We had one this morning for one of our clients where they were looking for some social media experts to provide some commentary on social media strategies and what's currently working at the moment. So again, help a reporter out. That's a great site to just always on, just check it every day. They send 3 emails a day, check it once a day, and just Control F, like find the relevant keywords to you, and just reply to them with 50 words. It's very simple, and if you're an expert on the topic, it takes hardly any time at all. And the value that you give them by being featured as an expert, they link back to you, and the coverage from that as well. So again, another great tactic that all B2B companies should really be utilizing. There's hundreds of features in that list, from some crazy ones we saw today, which we won't mention, but there are there's wide-ranging topics that they're asking for help on.
Can I just add, like, with the HARO responses, like there's it's obviously like really easy to get in the habit, drinking your coffee in the morning, like looking through, is anything relevant to me, like can I answer anything here? But then don't forget, like, what does the journalist actually want from this? Like, why are they sending out the requests? Like, it's quite easy to lose sight of that. So yeah, just think like, how am I being valuable to them? Because that's basically the way you're going to get chosen, if they're getting like 100 requests or answers, sorry. So yeah, like also like if you include like little punchy kind of bite-size points, journalists love that. So that kind of stuff gets picked up quite often. So try and include some of that in your larger response.
Yeah, exactly. And it helps just to have a templated profile or bio bigging up the person who is going to get featured. So they'll usually always ask for like a profile, like a headshot, a profile picture kind of thing, a link to your LinkedIn, a link to your socials. So it helps massively if you've got a big social following, because they know that you'll share that post. So it kind of works for them in two ways. And just have that templated reason why they should feature you. And you can literally copy and paste that for every single one going forward with the unique response related to the question. So yeah, a great way to get links.
Really important point there actually is just mention in your response, can you let me know if you use this? I'd love to see it, because what happens is they'll take your answer, they'll be like, great, thank you, I'll have that, put it in their article, and then you just never hear back. And yeah, you don't know you've got this like amazing link, and like if you don't catch it or you don't have tools to monitor that, you just maybe never get confirmation. So definitely ask for a follow-up.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. Cool. And now kind of briefly what we had touched on, the next tactic is that cornerstone pieces of content, or there are certain types of content that are more likely to get links than others. So you often see big resources and guides. A few years ago, they tended to work a lot better. And one kind of hot topic at the moment, and things that's working great for a lot of companies, are sort of stat roundups or like unique insights roundups. So we shared that LinkedIn post with each other the other day. I can't remember the name of the guy who did it, but he essentially rounded up loads of stats related to mortgages, I believe it was, and essentially the aim of this is to create this cornerstone piece of content with loads of different stats and insights, say, around mortgages. And then what you are doing then is, when you've got a journalist who's kind of quickly looking for stats, they search for like mortgage stats, which might be a bit niche and it's a bit rare, but it's highly relevant because it's, it relates to exactly the topic you're talking about. They then find the stats on your page and they link back to your stage as to your site as the reference, basically. So you create this big cornerstone piece of content, lots of unique info and stats, and it helps a lot more if those unique insights and those unique stats are just already created by your company. So if you have, for example, some unique insights that you've got from either customer data and anything, or just stuff that only you really have access to as a company, if you can combine that to other data that's out there, be that government data or anything that you can find that's reliable, you can put that together into, say, this mortgage guide. And then the aim is essentially, when anyone writes about that topic, they'll use you as the source and link back to it. So again, it's kind of those stat pages at the moment are a great way to gain links in sort of very niche industries as well. Like, that example was sort of around mortgages that we saw. And again, it's had 20 links or something like that in the past few months. So yeah, great angle to go with there.
Yeah, the primary content there, the primary statistics are really powerful, aren't they? And yeah, I just wanted to add as well, like if your company, like I'm sometimes, how am I going to get my client to post, a unique research paper on the use of fintechs, and like it's hard to, maybe you're not generating that data very often or every few years. But you can collate information from other sources, as you said, and just don't let that be a barrier, because even if you're collating it, as long as you're sourcing where you get it from, if you're ranking well for that term, financial stats or something, chances are journalists will come to you and pinch it from there. So it doesn't have to be primary data, but definitely include that if you can do.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. And then the final hot topic, you can't have a B2B, a link building guide list without featuring the tactic of digital PR. So very essentially just content marketing, and again creating certain assets that you then reach out to reporters, journalists, writers, people in the industry who then can see take this piece of content and it's useful to their audience. So again, it's when breaking it down like that, it's exactly the same concept as most link building. You create something that's of use to someone who has a website and their audience. So essentially, again, creating that value, you need it to impress the end audience. So a lot of the stuff that works, again, is unique stats and research. You could run your own survey and speak to 2,000 people. You could speak to like 2,000 B2B marketers and find out unique insights. Obviously, you have to kind of have that audience already to be able to ask those 2,000 people, or you have to pay to then do a survey to those relevant people. So there is that cost involved to get this done. Or if you have a B2B community, for example, and you've got 2,000 people in there and you can get a survey naturally from them, then again, you've got that unique insights, you've got that unique data. So again, it kind of relates to this stats pages or these assets that we were talking about before. But I think the digital PR stuff that's kind of doing well at the moment is a lot of like the news jacking, or kind of like if a hot topic is happening at the moment, then tying it into that and seeing how you can relate it to it. So again, it's essentially thinking of the journalists, what do their readers want to see, and the more you work with these journalists, the more you work with these writers at these companies, you know what they like, and you've got a direct line to them, so you can run ideas past them before you've even created the asset, just to see if it's something they would link to. So again, with that digital PR, it's again kind of a nicely branded, worded way of just saying link building, where you're creating that asset, something that's newsworthy, topical, and then that can be put in front of these journalists who will then write about it on their site in a different angle. So again, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day in terms of how to do that and what makes an effective digital PR campaign. But I think it was John Mueller from Google who came out and said that it's a great way to build links, that he loves how that kind of whole content marketing digital PR space is using ingenuity to kind of create these campaigns to then launch them. So yeah, anything to add on digital PR, Mitch?
Not particularly. No, I'd just say like jumping on the news kind of topical kind of articles. Like I wondered if you could give an example about how someone would do that, because it might be quite a challenging thing to kind of get into. Because I find especially with B2B and more kind of like software sort of based companies, it's hard to kind of get the kind of sound bites out of that, compared to top 10 best breeds of cat. It's not as sellable as it sometimes doesn't feel as kind of easy to kind of promote. So
that is true. You well and truly put me on the spot there, Mitch, with a question we've not run through before. So but no, it is a good question, and I was kind of thinking about it before as well, in terms of it's I was thinking about this morning actually, and in terms of how digital PR is good, because it's a lot of people saying, link building's hard in a boring industry, or in something that's not as glamorous, e.g. software or something like this. But it's kind of because previously a lot of the time the easiest way to gain links would be to, this is B2C now, we're talking about the easiest way to gain links would be to gift someone a product or give them access to something. If you sort of own a pair of a fashion company, and you're selling boots, you can send them to them and then they'll feature you. So easy exchange of value. Now this kind of, you couldn't obviously do that if you're a B2B company and you're not selling something that's sort of tangible. But now with this digital PR, gives you a chance to kind of come up with, do your own research, and kind of think about what would the audience like, and just think of what's interesting. So I think for ourselves, if it could just be from an agency angle, it could be all related to websites, you could be all right, what's the most economical, what's the best CMS for the environment? It sounds silly, but it's is there a difference between them? And you might find something alarming that to run a Shopify site, or to download, or to just keep a Shopify site, or to access it, it could use more bandwidth, which then means more energy, which means then more this, and tying in things like this. It's looking for that kind of headline, which is this CMS is like this, or the other kind of aspect of it as well is potentially kind of going down the route of, you see it every so often, an agency or a freelancer will kind of come up and be what's the Wix is the worst website for SEO, and I'm not saying it is, don't hold me to that, but what they'll do is they'll judge it by 20 different factors. They'll look at all of the websites that rank in the top 10, and they realize, 50% use WordPress, 20% use Drupal, 10% use a custom kind of CMS or something, and then they'll kind of glamorize it and say the attention catching headline is WordPress is the most kind of SEO friendly CMS. So it's kind of thinking of these angles and something you need to give that hook to the journalist almost to kind of what's going to grab the attention of their audience. Because, you know, if you see an article on Search Engine Journal and it says like, you know, we've rated the top 5 CMSs for SEO, you're going to click on it because you're like, I want to know what that is. So it's doing that research and coming up with a research piece or finding that information out and then running a test or doing a survey and then putting that together into a nice kind of looking asset or something to then pitch to these journalists. So it's that's kind of how to think about it, is like what can be the hook for the journalist and then back kind of trend it. Like, for example, if you've got a payment industry client who's big in crypto, kind of like what has how can we relate it to that, and what can be a headline that will attract the attention of people who are in the crypto space or in the Web 3.0 space. So just thinking of it from that angle, really. So
there are ways to do it. That's a good answer.
Thank you.
No
all right,
examples.
waffled a little bit, but we're all good. Perfect. So yeah, I think in terms of buying links, like what are your thoughts on buying links?
Where do I begin? Sorry, I've got a bit excuse me, a frog in my throat. Buying links. So when I started SEO, like all of my training resources, everything I learned, like was just like never buy links. It's so bad, and then when you get more and more into it, and you kind of like, you know, auditing competitors, and you're kind of, you know, checking what everyone's doing, and everyone's buying links. Like it's crazy. So like I just want to get that kind of across. Like it's a real thing, and like unfortunately it does have benefits, but I will say they're temporary a lot of the time. Basically I'd compare buying links to like McDonald's or food, because it's like it sounds ridiculous. It's like a great analogy for it, because it will fill you up temporarily. It will taste good. You know, you'll get your domain rating up, get some traffic on your page, but then the next algorithm update will come along from Google and it might get wiped out. You could get penalised, really negative consequences. So it's just bad for your health in the long term.
Nice.
That's basically my 2 cents on it.
Perfect. Well, that's my LinkedIn post sorted for tomorrow. Link building, paying for links is like McDonald's. No, that's good. Yeah, I like that, because I think the thing is as well, like everyone does it. Even these big, like quite big digital PR companies or campaigns that are being run, where it's like, you know, it greases the wheels of getting those links built. Like, you know, if you can get some top tier publications as well as adding some paid links into the mix as well, it does happen, and you can see it when you look at the backlink profile. And again, like you said, it does happen quite a lot. Even some, you know, decent websites that seem reputable will kind of, you know, potentially charge some guest posting fee or something like that. So it's one of those things where it happens. You just need to be super careful with it.
I think the checks are so important. Like you just can't be careful enough. Like there's so many websites. Like I've got this database of you know, these people are always emailing you if they're like lists of websites. So I keep them all in a spreadsheet. And then if there's a website that I'm thinking about linking to, I'll go, is it one of these, you know, weird sites?
Yeah.
So I cross-check it, and sometimes they pop up. So like even sites you find in the wild, like naturally yourself, they'll actually be in these circles. So it might just look fine, all the content's okay, but then actually it's got a page that's like a streaming service for like, you know, illegal, you know, movies or something. So you just can't be careful enough, really.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. All right, nice one. So in summary, really, just stressing the importance of links can't be said enough. It's still a massively important part for a long time. I feel like it will be. It's just how Google judges the sites. It's a great way to judge the site. It can be gamed a little bit, but at the end of the day, the companies that do invest in their link building processes do tend to win out. Obviously, there is the old company that will pay for those links, try and get there quickly, like you said, and see that drop off at that Google update or the next Google update, and it's always in the back of their mind. So I think in terms of things that like B2B companies can do today to build links, I would 100% say sign up to Haro, so help a reporter out. I think it's just haro.com. Go over there, sign up for that. Just get someone in your team to check that when they send you free emails every day. Just look for, if you are a software company or, you know, cybersecurity company, just look down the list for cybersecurity. But then also off of that, like there could be a question about the Internet of Things which you might feel positioned to answer as well. So answer that one. So, again, it's just that's a quick and easy thing that companies can be doing all the time. And then obviously if you are serious about your marketing, you are probably trying to do podcasts, you are trying to speak at conferences, you are trying to get on other websites anyway. So just make sure when you do that you are getting that link back to your site, and people know that. And anything to add on that one, Mitch?
Yeah, well, that was just the last point. It's just to stress, like, your whole team sort of being conscious of it is just so important. Like, everything you do, like, working with just other sites, other companies, like contractors and stuff, like building websites, like you can get links from everywhere. So like if it's just always on your mind, you're always conscious of it, it would just be such a beneficial thing to do, really. So
yeah, exactly.
Great.
Wonderful, mate. Well, there we go. The first live episode done. I think,
nice.
Unless the audio didn't go through and none of the video did,
yeah,
no one saw it. Then
you froze on my screen quite early on, so
wow.
I see yours moving, so
okay.
I'm hoping it's ticking along.
Yeah.
But...
Well, if not, it's we'll soon see after this.
Yeah, great.
But if people want to follow along with us, if this was depending on how well this went, we've got our own Bitesize B2B marketing LinkedIn page. So to begin with, I'll be putting the live streams, but hopefully out on my profile, but we'll be putting all the older episodes back on that. You can also check that out at bitesizeb2b.com, and you can follow myself, find me along with the 400 other thousand Stephen Whites on LinkedIn, along with the 500,000 other Mitchell Smiths on there as well. So nice plain English names to try and find us.
Did you want me to share this? So... sorry about that.
Exactly. So, but all good. So thanks a lot for joining in for the first episode. Really appreciate it. And we'll catch you same time next week. Bye.